Hello and welcome. We're going to get into another video. In today's video, we're going to talk about the top teams in the Fantasy Cup. And no, that's wrong. That's not Great League Edition. It's actually Ultra League Edition. Now, what's the difference between the Ultra League version and the Great League version? It's literally the same. There is no differences. The only difference is that you're going to use Pokemons that are 2500 CP or below. Now, just don't go too low with the below. Like, don't use 100 CP Pokemons. No, just use your best Ultra League Pokemons that are eligible in this cup, okay? And it's basically Steel, Dragon, and Fairy. Now, something to mention here: Steel beat the Fairy Dragons. Supposed to beat the Steel Dragons that are good. In this meta, are supposed to be the dragons that beat the Steel. But some of the dragons here beat the Fairy and the Steel, and that's why they are the #1 Pokemon. And I'm talking about specifically about the Turtonator. Now, it's very hard to get, and it's very hard to power up because it's an XL Pokemon that doesn't spawn, as far as I'm aware. It's locked behind eggs and raids. I think I have like enough XLs to power up one, but I just don't have a good one. So I'm gonna be stuck trying to use an anti-meta team, like some of you who came to see what options do they have if they don't have the Turtonator. Now, if you take a look here, we have lots of viable Pokemons. The Dugtrio family, no, there is no Dugtrio. It's basically Excadrill, okay? If you see Dugtrio, it's basically Excadrill. This Pokemon, Slurpuff, I think the name of it, it was supposed to be the best, it used to be the best safe swap in this cup because it's a Fairy with a Grass move and a Fairy move and a Fire move. So the Fire move helps it against the Steel, the Fairy move helps it against the Dragons, and the Grass, I don't know what it help it against. Now, why there is an Azu? Well, this Azu is basically a Tapu Fini, but we're just trying to rage bait some people who just come in to judge, you know. Heatran is a viable Pokemon, but Heatran is just a bad Turtonator, to be honest. In this cup, I would say the top 3 Pokemons are Turtonator, Giratina Origin, and Corviknight. Those 3 are on a different level. Anything you want to use has to deal with those 3, okay? If you don't use the 3, you have to use things that deal with those 3. What can deal with those 3? I mean, technically, Flygon deals with them if you're using the Mudshot version, or even the Dragon Tail version. Actually, it can beat 1 with the Dragon Tail, 2. It beats 2 with the Dragon Tail, but you run the Mudshot in case they are using a Fairy Pokemon. Something that can beat at least 2 as well is Lucario. What does Lucario beat? What's the second one? It beats nothing. Yeah, it beats nothing. People used to use Lucario for the Tapu Fini and the Alolan Sandslash and the Stunfisk. Alolan Sandslash is very, very usable in this league, so you will see it as kind of the safe Pokemon against the Steel Fairies. Now, if the Steel is Registeel, it's kind of usable. If the Steel is Corviknight, it gets annoying, okay? Because Corviknight, remember, can go straight, I think, payback and still win the 0 or the 1 because the sand attack damage will add up. But a Pokemon that I would actually use is Tapu Fini because it's good against here, and great against... I wouldn't say great, it's actually bait dependent. But remember that the Tapu Fini has Nature's Madness, which is a charge move that debuff the opponent. So would it still be worth to bait? I don't think so. Just go for it. If they shield, they still get their defense dropped. If they don't shield, you're nuking the dragon. Now, what teams now? Okay, we talked about the Pokemons. Let's just move on and talk about the teams. What is the #1 team? I would say the top team in this cup is literally the top 3 PV Poke, which is Turtonator, Mimikyu, and Stunfisk. But if you look at this team, it's technically weak to Tapu Fini. So how would you deal with Tapu Fini? I mean, you just have to, I think, go to Stunfisk and just play the bait game, or you can just use Tapu Fini itself as the Tapu Fini answer, okay? Now, if they swap in a Tapu Fini, you just go Mimikyu, right? But if they lead Tapu Fini, you have to go to the soft answer, which is Tapu Fini itself. It has Water Gun, Surf, and Nature's Madness. Nature's Madness, again, it's a move that debuffs the opponent's defense, I think. So it's always worth to throw the move, even if you're 100% sure that they will shield. Now, Surf is good in matchups like Corviknight. You have to go straight Surf, right? How would this team be different than this? I would say this is like a safer option. Like, if you're someone who likes to safe swap, pivot out, I would think that this team is actually better than this one, because this one is kind of like, depending, like, if they have Tapu Fini, you're screwed. But would people be running Tapu Fini? I would say so. Tapu Fini is the safest Pokemon in this cup by a mile. Well, technically, the safest Pokemon in this cup is actually Mimikyu. So that's why I would go with this team, to be honest. But what if you are like me and you don't have a level 50 Turtonator? Well, I'm just going to use a Flygon Shadow. I have a bunch of Shadow Flygons. I think I have 2 for Ultra League and like 3 for the Great League, because this Pokemon has so many charge moves and you will always need another charge move. So instead of using TMs, I'm just going to power up another one, to be honest. Flygon, again, is great into Stunfisk, is great into something like... pretty much anything that's not a Corviknight. Like, you can always do damage. And Alolan Sandslash used to run Shadow Claw. I think nowadays they always run Powder Snow, so that's a matchup you need to be aware of. And that's why we're running 2 things that can deal with it, which is Mimikyu and Registeel. Is Registeel even viable with the... Well, with the rise use of Mimikyu, people are using Registeel again, and you have to use Flash Cannon. Don't use Zap Cannon, it's nerfed. It's expensive. Flash Cannon is slightly cheaper. So that's a thing to be aware of, okay? I think Registeel is going to be everywhere, okay? Now, the main problem with Registeel is that you need a cracked Registeel. You need a very low attack Registeel, level 50. If you have that, I think you will be cooking, with, especially if you put it with Mimikyu and a spammy Pokemon in the lead. What could be a spammy Pokemon? It could be this. It could be Tapu Fini, honestly. Don't use ABA. Well, you can use ABA Steel. It could be even Giratina, to be honest. Registeel double Shadow Claw. I mean, that sounds like a sick matchup. Now, which Giratina you can use? Well, you can use either, to be honest. Giratina Ultimate is so good because you can just go with Shadow Claw, Shadow Sneak, Dragon Claw. And as a second, you can go with the Mimikyu or Registeel or the Stunfisk or the Tinkaton. All these options are viable. And then as a third, Turtonator. But again, what if you don't have a Turtonator like myself? Well, I am going to be using Shadow Dragonite if I need a Turtonator. What about Flygon? Well, technically Flygon is supposed to be so good, but if people were using Corviknight a lot, I cannot use that. I need something that does beat Corviknight. Does Dragonite do that? I would think so. I mean, you have Thunder Punch, and the Dragon Breath is resisted, while Sand Attack is double resisted. And I have myself a rank 1 Shadow Dragonite for Ultra League. So how do you play this team? Basically, you just don't shield Giratina. Just don't shield. Try to get a shield advantage and put it all in on Tinkaton. I mean, I have Tinkaton here and I have Mimikyu. Well, both serve kind of the same role as a tanky fairy Pokemon that can deal with almost everything. So keep that in mind. Both are viable, both are good, okay? That's the main thing. Now, we've been talking about Corviknight, but what if I want to use Corviknight? Well, Corviknight is so freaking cool in this cup. It's so freaking good. Sand Attack, Payback, Air Cutter. Get that Air Cutter boost, and then the Pokemon will sweep. I'm not a fan of it getting shields. I usually just use it and don't shield it and get a shield advantage and rely on my Pokemons in the back, because these things like Mimikyu, Reshiram, I have Reshiram here. If you don't have a what's his face, Turtonator, you can actually use Reshiram with Fire Fang, because I'm sure 100% that some people will be like, what if I don't have a Turtonator? And that's why we put Reshiram with Fire Fang can technically do some similar missions, okay? It's not as good, but it can do some stuff. So I would say Reshiram can replace this guy, and Corviknight needs something good, something solid in the back, and that's why we have it with Mimikyu. What if you want to use Double Steel? I think Doublade is a legit Pokemon. It's so good, and the coverage is actually also good. Stunfisk is still a decent one if you have powered up Stunfisk from Season 6 actually. Season 6 where XLs came out. I would say that this is still a decent Pokemon. It lacks the bulk. Yes, G-Fisk is bulky technically. Those aren't as bulky as the Registeels, you know, or the Steelix. What if you don't have any XL Pokemons? I would say just use this team, honestly. Dragonite with Empoleon makes a perfect core. And then as a third, well, we said no XLs. Well, you don't need to use a Stunfisk. You technically can use something like Tapu Fini, yeah, Dragonite double water. That doesn't sound bad, to be honest. You can use something like Wheezing, and you can also replace this Flygon with a Dragonite. Would you be running Dragon Tail Flygon? No. If I need to use a Dragon type fast move, I'm just gonna use a Dragonite. Okay, don't use a Dragon Tail Flygon. You could also replace it with something like Garchomp, but Garchomp is just not as bulky in Ultra League as it's supposed to be in Master League. So again, I think this is one of the best teams in this cup by a mile. It's so it's the least RPS, I would say. I know some people will try to get as many RPS Pokemon, but I think this is the most neutral team in the entire league. I remember that this team was very viable in the Great League Fantasy Cup. I don't see a reason why it wouldn't be good in Ultra League. I think it's still decent. So you guys, if you have it, try it out and let me know how it goes for you in the comment section below. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you like it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video if you like the content, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.